In 1983, the National Commission on Excellence in Education, appointed by the Education Secretary Terrell Bell, released a report titled A Nation at Risk. The report asserted that the American schools were increasingly failing and that achievement of American students had declined dramatically, particularly in math and science. The report proclaimed that the educational foundations of the American society were being eroded by a rising tide of mediocrity, and that the country was committing an act of unilateral educational disarmament. This document caused a wave. In 1989, the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics released the Curriculum and Evaluation Standards for School Mathematics. This document set forth a vision of teaching math that emphasized problem solving and de-emphasized the teaching of facts, algorithms, and skills. Funded by National Science Foundation, this vision materialized in as many as 13 math programs, some for elementary, other for middle, and yet other for high school. These new programs became known as Reform Math, although its critics branded it Fuzzy Math. Core Plus Mathematics is one of those Reform Math programs. Its development started in 1992, and in 1995 it was unleashed onto high school students. This program had been reviewed by distinguished professors and has been deemed unacceptable, especially for students who intend to continue their education in a university. The opposition to reform math became so intense that in 1997 California adopted alternative standards, returning to traditional teaching of computational skills and algorithms and mandating teaching algebra in 8th grade 1 year earlier than in most other states. But all good things come to an end. Adoption of Common Core state standards by the California Board of Education in 2010 means that algebra now faces extinction because, in addition to the traditional sequential structure of high school mathematics, Common Core recognizes integrated approach to teaching math, which became popular again. The massive conversion of school districts to integrated math curriculum in which different strands of school mathematics, algebra, geometry, statistics, probability theory, discrete math are cobbled together brought the Core Plus Mathematics program back to life. Districts that denounced it 2 decades ago are welcoming it back with open arms. The program now flaunts the Common Core Badge of Honor on its cover and presents itself as a respectable 4-year math program. It is context-based, meaning that instead of clearly defined sections of theoretical material and problems, it reads like a novel, which supposedly should make math less dry and more relatable, but in fact is just a poor replacement of a proper physics course taken alongside math. A 600-page textbook requires good reading skills. For an English learner, this can present a barrier towards understanding actual math, while a bright student will quickly become bored by a third-rate prose. Because there are no clearly defined definitions, proofs, and problems, one has to read the textbook top to bottom. Important facts are often hidden in the problems or in a sidebar or omitted altogether. Because of the emphasis on textual treatment of math, the symbolic language of algebra is greatly diminished. The Core Plus program is designed for group work. This means that instead of efficiently explaining the course material to the whole class, a teacher discusses the same problem with each group, again and again and again.
Well, Oliver's suggesting that if you write the rule and put in the rate of change there, that then you can solve to find the y-intercept. Okay, there's another strategy we could use is the table. Did we use the table last week?
Right, tables. Instead of teaching algebraic way of solving problems, Core Plus is very fond of creating tables full of data points and then plotting them on a Cartesian plane. When tables do not work, Core Plus suggests using a graphing calculator.
Power, graph, oh, this isn't the right type of graph, stat, y5, I'm in the wrong window settings.
What are you doing?
I'm just totaling up the bill.
You need a calculator to do that?
Well, doesn't everybody use calculators to total bills and things like that?
Nowadays, when a smartphone can be bought for $50 or less, a graphing calculator still costs $100, just like 20 years ago. Do you really need a graphing calculator to solve this? Symbolic algebra is reduced to the point it is deemed old-fashioned. Here, two students discuss algebraic way of solving a linear equation. 3x plus 12 equals 45. Natasha apparently is so poor she cannot spend $100 on a graphing calculator, so she solves the equation algebraically. What a shame, Natasha.